name is Annabelle from Horizon Cosplay, and today we're in the corner. Why are we in the corner? Well, that's easy, because we have whiskey and coke. Oh, and my new treadle singer sewing machine. Let's check it out. And this is the point where I realise I thought it opened the other way. Well, let's get going. Right, we're just going to leave it like that for the moment. So let's get this out and see how this puppy looks. So, initial thoughts are that this front plate here sinks way lower than it's supposed to. So we're definitely going to have to install an extra piece of wood to hold that up. Is there not something under here to hold it up? I'm so shockingly surprised. I do not think we're going to be able to display it on the treadle until that's fixed. So let's take this off the treadle because it needs a bit of a clean up anyway. Of course, Girly Bear, as soon as the cabinet is open, you must investigate. So, we have a blue sewing machine. It can't be detached from the unit, so Ben has jerry-rigged it underneath. There is, if I get a torch out and show you guys, a latch that is supposed to hold it up, but as you can see, it's been bent from so many years of use. And one really interesting thing about this machine is it has a wooden treadle base. Now, I'm going to give this all a big hoover out, because as you can see, it's a little bit gross. And also the machine, if you want to look, I've got a torch, let's hold it up so you can see, has a lot of grease and grime. Does seem, though, to run pretty well. Ooh. Well, something's just happened. Oh, okay. Oh, well that should make hoovering it a bit easier. Oh no, has it actually just... Oh my gosh, no. I don't believe it. The treadle base is just broken. Kill me now. How the has this happened? So the irony about this is that the treadle base is the one part of the cabinet and machine that isn't original. It apparently cracked or got broken many years ago, about 25 years ago, and they had to replace it, which is cool. And it seems I've just broken it again. To be fair, it just looks like the hinges that the pedal rotates on, they've just popped off. Pretty sure I can get it on. I'm going to ask Ben to help, because that's what husbands are for. And maybe we can actually get this working, but screw me, no. Not particularly happy. Though it's quite interesting looking at this cabinet. So the old owners told me a story when I went to pick it up. It was a mum and her son, and her son is in his 30s, I'd say, and he told me that as a kid he used to actually hide in the cabinet for hide and seek, and that was his fond memories of the sewing machine. Now, we do have this little box here, which does contain some things, but literally just scrap of fabric, a button, I think. Yep, we have a very nice green button, some embroidery thread, another button, and a tiny bit of Velcro. So nothing too interesting attachment-wise, which is a bit of a shame, because this is probably my second most expensive machine that I've ever brought. And I was kind of hoping it would come with a little bit more, but then again, the main reason I brought it is because it's a blue singer, which is like a blue treadle singer as well. So, you know, let's see how we go. Let's ask Ben for some help. Hey honey, if you pause a second and come help me put this pedal back in, I will love you forever.
Yeah, give me a second.
So, while we wait for Ben, let's have a look and see how old this machine is. So we can see the code right here. It is F3997693. So let's go away and see how old this thing is.
She's got no legs.
Here's a bread loaf. So it's just popped off of one side, but I can't get it back in.
What do you mean it popped off?
I don't know, it was working fine, and then all of a sudden it just like popped off. I don't know, it just popped off.
She said. No, I can't repair it.
So, according to the serial number database I use, this machine is a Singer 15K, which makes sense because it does have a number 15. 15 or 13? From here it looks like a 15. I mean, I was going to say it has a 15 on the thing, but now I can't tell. But the point is, according to the serial number database, it's supposed to be a 15K. Blue 15K. It's a very cool blue 15K. That's why I brought it and spent lots of money on it for a machine that doesn't work. Now, I got told that this machine was about 50 years old. It was brought by a family in the 1950s, 1960s after they immigrated to the UK. It was like the first purchase the wife made before she had kids, and essentially she's just used it all of her life. But according to the database, this machine was actually made in 1913 Now, I have just like triple checked that serial number because I was quite surprised by this, but all I can think of is that even though it was one of the first things she brought in the country, she must have brought it secondhand. And so this machine, this blue machine, which by the way, have you ever heard of a blue treadle sewing machine before? Because I certainly haven't. It was a very interesting thing to find. Is, you know, apparently quite rare. And the other reason that I'm surprised is because the plain metal plates on the side and everything, that's a very modern touch. So I don't know if the database I'm using is just incorrect, if I've misread that number at all. I'm going to go and double check it. But for now, guys, let's give it a clean up and see what she looks like clean. Though the other thing that I've realised, and why I can't sew with it even if the treadle was on, is that there is no bobbin case. Totally empty in there, so I've got no bobbins and no bobbin case, which is exactly what I needed. So I suppose I'll be buying one of those off eBay tonight. Okay, so I have just double and triple checked the sewing machine number, and it definitely fits into this category. It's definitely a Singer 15K. So I'm guessing that it's just a really weird 15 that's been done, and it was July, December 1913, made in Clydebank, Scotland. So that's all good. And I have managed to find these bobbin cases and bobbins on eBay. I am hoping that they're gonna fit, considering the last thing that I ordered off eBay was questionable at best. Let's keep our fingers crossed for me, and I am going to buy it now. But other than that, I suppose we should get cleaning. During the cleaning process, I actually decided against using cotton wool. It had some really bad stains and grime on it, so I got a really soft bamboo toothbrush and some fairy liquid to get the grease off and just gave it a good scrub. This actually worked like an absolute dream and would highly recommend, though do make sure the toothbrush is soft, and I wouldn't advise doing it if you can see cracks on the paintwork. I couldn't in these areas, and so decided to take a chance, which worked for me, but definitely not something I'm going to be recommending all the time. Okay, so we're definitely not going to be sewing with this machine today. Now, I have just noticed that the bottom of the cabinet is now wider than the top, which is probably what made the treadle machine, you know, break. So Ben's going to help me fix that in a few days because we haven't really got the tools or the time to do it now because it's quite late at night. And for the moment, I'm going to put this machine away, and I'm going to show you something really cool that Ben got me for Christmas that I think this machine needs. Now, we have this box. This is a plastic vintage Singer box, and essentially at Christmas we have a little tradition competition thing, which we actually had some friends join in this year as well, where we go to a charity shop on Christmas Eve or the day before Christmas Eve, or you know, just sometime in December essentially. Nice big charity shop, and we go around and see what the best present is that we can find each other. And this was Ben's one for me. Cost him £5. Essentially, we have so many sewing accessories, it's not funny. Now, I also have some wax for my thread in here. We've got some bobbins, which I'm pretty sure are going to be the bobbins for this machine. Now, some of the stuff, you know, like, don't even know what that is, does need a bit of a clean. We have a random key here. Don't know what that's for. I'm guessing a sewing machine. In fact, there's multiple sewing machine keys in here. But the point is, there's a lot of feet, there's the correct bobbins, and so even though this needs a clean, preferably sometime soon, we are going to pop that into the door so that this machine now has some of its own accessories, which will be really, really nice to use. I'm getting quite excited. Also, I know you guys have probably noticed that the top of this machine is very, very damaged. There's literally gouges taken out of the wood. I am currently debating how I want to fix that. Ben's advice was just to get an entirely new piece of wood to put on the top here. I would like to save the original if possible, and so I'm playing around with the idea of actually epoxying the top and essentially just sanding this top layer off, putting epoxy on, and basically just giving it a really nice resin top. Some kind of decorative thing, I'm not 100% sure what yet, but we're going to figure that out sometime soon. Definitely not going to be this video though, I think that one's going to be a whole separate thing. But something nice and blue to match the machine inside, maybe with a few little sewing accessories if I can get some really thin ones, or maybe put some pins out in a nice pattern, or even create a patchwork that I can stick to the top and then resin over the top. Let me know your opinion, or if you can think of a good way to fix this. It is just the vinyl that's coming off, and it's just such a shame to get rid of what is one of the original pieces of the cabinet. We'll come back to this another day.
So guys, you can see that is a very nice bright day, so I thought, why not try and attempt to repair Annabelle's sewing machine, as we've got dry weather and I don't have to worry about it pissing on me later. So what we did is we started by essentially bringing the machine down, which I'm not going to boast, it took a great deal of effort. Anyway, besides the point, we found that the supporting piece, the piece that holds the bottom of the unit together, has actually rotted. The nails have actually gone through, and as you can see, I don't know, depending on how good the quality of the camera is, you can see there's quite a bit of woodworm. And there is quite a bit of rot at the tip of the timber. So essentially what's happened is, over age and time and water and moisture, whatever, essentially rotted through the timber. It's made it soft, it's made it essentially rotten, and it's now broken through. So in an attempt to replace that, I've made 3 new, shorter, thinner pieces which are going to brace from 3 different points. But we also have to combat another problem, and I shall show you now. Where the original timber is, where it used to sit, is also rotted slightly. I'll get rid of that. And essentially what we're going to have to do is the brace pieces are going to have to start here and work down. We won't be able to put anything here because it's too damaged. This side's not as bad, but it has rotted through partially. This is due to the fact that the timber is not solid timber, it's plywood. Unfortunately, older plywoods don't have very good adhesive, so they don't stick together very long for long periods of time. So we'll have to start here, support the main structure, clamp it all together, fix it in, pile it, glue, and we'll have to space them out evenly from starting from here to here. And then hope that in the future it lasts. I can't say that it will, and what I'll probably end up doing in the future, once Annabelle has finished her project with this one, is I'll probably build a new body using some of the original parts. So the door is still perfectly intact, along with the small compartment box at the top there. So what I might just do in the future is just rebuild the box, take the original treadle machine foot pedal, which I've now repaired, and I'll have to transplant them into a new body, because this one seems to be gone as well. And you can see by looking at the top there that the plywood veneer has started to come away, and it started to come away there. So in future I'm going to have to build a new box using some of the original parts and try and make it as authentic as possible. Well, there you go people, I've repaired it. However, it's not as good a job as I'd hoped, due to the fact that there's absolutely no structural integrity left in that plywood. It's pretty much all gone. The screws, I even had to downsize in the original size screws that I wanted, purely because they were just not going to do the job. They were just too big. They were going to break everything and push it all apart. So I will endeavour in the future to probably repair this particular machine's body, as the machine itself runs fine along with the treadle. However, I'll have to redesign and rebuild it as a new box. But we shall see how it goes from here, and see if this temporary fix holds true, so Annabelle can finish her project and have a bit of fun with it.
Okay, so it's been a little while since we filmed this video, and other than the cat hair that's been on this, Ben very kindly fixed the cabinet. Unfortunately, the string did break, but fortunately we can turn her by hand, so I say we get going, thread her up, and see how she sews. Oh, and because, if you remember correctly, we were missing the bobbin cover, I have brought another one. And very nicely, this comes not only with a bobbin cover, which fingers crossed fits, but also quite a few bobbins. So let's thread her up, see how she goes, and go from there essentially. Okay, so I looked up a manual and I think I've got it all threaded up correctly now, and let's just see if it sews before I go to work, because I've got like 5 minutes before I have to leave, so if this doesn't work we're going to have to deal with it this afternoon. Okay, well, it did sew. By the looks of things, the bobbin has gotten quite tangled, which is always fun. So if I can just show you guys, what seems to be happening is that when the needle goes down, the orange thread gets caught on the handle, which obviously it's not supposed to do. Now, I am pretty sure that I ordered the right bobbin case here, so I'm not really sure if this is maybe supposed to be sticking out or not, but obviously it's not going to work. which is quite frustrating really. So I suppose this is the danger of buying things off eBay. This is what I needed, and this is what I brought. If you guys can see the difference, the handle clearly goes to the wrong side, which is why the thread keeps catching, whereas this one, it should be on the opposite side. So looks like I'm gonna have to order another bobbin case, but hey ho, I suppose at least I've got one spare, though I'm not quite sure what I'm gonna use it for, if I'm honest.
Hey guys, a few days ago you saw me essentially fixing the bottom of this particular unit. However, discussing the aftermath with Annabelle and also kind of coming to an agreement that the framework is not actually the original framework for this machine. So it was common for these machines back in the late 80s to have the original bodies repaired and have the machine fitted into a new body essentially. So this body is not the original it would have had back in 1920s, 1930s. However, the problem with it is that the frame itself is actually starting to fall apart now. So the work I did on it was kind of temporary, but it also revealed quite a few underlying problems. That means that this machine is not going to be suitably housed in this body. The other reason being is that we're in the process of emigrating to Australia, and they're very strict on what things can and can't come into the country, and unfortunately timber that has had or has woodworm is one of the big no-nos. That just like, it is not allowed in the country, period. So unfortunately what we're going to have to do, as much as I don't like the idea, is we're going to have to take the old body, the machine itself, out of the cabinet, dismantle the cabinet, keep all the key components like the foot pedal crank and also the little vintage box that hits in the door, and any other ironmongery and hinges. So for instance, the hinges here will be kept, the piano hinge for the door will be kept, the ironmongery, the metalwork that is for the pedal, will also be kept, and any other thing that looks like it has a bit of age to it. So there's two hinges here for the piece that folds out, that will also be kept. So essentially we'll keep the essentials in a bag or in a box with the machine, and then we'll house this in just something temporary and have it then shipped when we get everything else shipped along. So you're going to watch me as I dismantle it. Now, I'm going to keep a few more things than I was originally expecting. So, obviously we're going to keep all of the screws, the nuts and bolts and all the pieces that went with it. The original treadle feet holders. So these are what essentially you put onto the treadle foot and it allows it to pivot on the right spot. We also, obviously we are going to keep this, which is our pivot axle. Essentially this is our crank, which we spin around and then turns the machine, which then turns the foot itself. The other things that we are also going to continue to keep, so I can use them as a reference to make a new piece essentially, is the top. So we're obviously going to keep this piece because I need to know the dimensions for it so I can essentially copy it into a new cabinet I'm going to build myself. And this just allows me to have a nice little template, not so much the outside but definitely the inside measurements. They're pretty snug as they are, so all I'll do is I'll template this onto a new piece of solid oak, plywood, something maybe that I'll use to make the new cabinet, and this can become my template for it. We are also keeping, if I am put it away, the piece that folds out, so obviously it allows the machine to pop up. We then drop this back down, and it then rests on here. Again, this will become a template for the new piece. Along with those, we are also keeping the foot pedal base, again for the same reasons. We're going to use this as our template for our new machine because I'm going to build it myself. That also includes our foot pedal. So this is the original pedal that they had in this machine. I do not believe it's the original pedal due to the fact that this isn't old enough to be what would have been in the original machine. Plywood of this kind of level was more introduced on the latter half of 1950s and 1960s. So if I had to give a guess, the original machine body fell apart. Then whoever inherited the machine had it repaired or rehoused, like I said previously, into a new body. And this is just the end of that body's life. So we can use it as a template to make our new machine. So fingers crossed, I can use this, and essentially all the dimensions of the original, and off we go.
Alright guys, so let's face it, this video was a bit disappointing. We didn't get the sewing machine working and the cabinet had to be dismantled, which is not ideal. I don't like decapitating antiques, but clearly with Ben trying to fix it, it wasn't going to work, and at the end of the day we just kind of had to make the choice that it's going to be better to build a brand new cabinet, and to be honest, I think it will be more fun, especially because, like I said, this is a very unique sewing machine and, well, very interesting. As for not getting it working, I am going to order a new bobbin, but at the moment I am saving up to fix the antique Victorian sewing machine that I have been telling you all about recently on the channel and in the Discord. So that's going to take priority, I'm afraid. Very sorry about that. However, if you want to see this machine get working and you want to see us build a new cabinet for it, don't forget to subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit a like. If you have any suggestions for what you'd like to see us make as a cabinet, do leave them in the comments down below. And otherwise join us for the first Monday of every month for sewing machine unboxing and trial day. The next month's one is going to be particularly interesting, so I'd certainly tune in for that. Otherwise, I do post my cosplay sewing videos every single week, so make sure you subscribe if you don't want to miss them, and I will see you then. Have a beautiful day, guys. Bye!